Hey gang, it's your friendly neighborhood RoboRiv, and this time I've got a original concept that I spent a lot of time on and yet somehow forgot to record the initial rough sketch, so my apologies for that one. But this drawing is called Serafine, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about it. This one took me about 2 years to finish. I started it way back when, about 2 years ago, and I recently finished it. And it just goes to show you, like, if you have a specific vision in mind, it might not come together overnight. It takes a lot of time. It might take a lot of polish. I've worked on it little bits and pieces here and there within those 2 years and set it aside and then came back to it. There are many parts of it that I was just tinkering around with and trying to figure out and trying my best to get it to match the image that was swimming around in my head. And that can be a very difficult thing sometimes. It takes a lot of patience. But the name Serafine is a name of Hebrew origin, meaning burning ones. It's a variant of Serafina, which is the feminine form of a seraphim, which refers to the highest ranking angels of God. And that's what I was going for, a very celestial being, a woman burning from the inside out, seeing some of the light cracking underneath her skin. I had this vision of this woman's having like a almost marble type texture or look to her black skin, with fiery red burning on the inside. And the thing that got this image stuck in my head is I am a big fan of music from different origins. That probably happened when I was going between my senior year of high school and when I went to college. I was starting to experiment with different music. Prior to that, I was really into hip hop, and I had a little grunge phase and industrial phase and new metal and all that good stuff. And then I really got into Japanese music, and there's a real old school Japanese band called Dead End. And they have a song called Serafine, and it has this very just triumphant, majestic tone to it. And even though I don't know the exact lyrics of the song, because I'm not Japanese, I don't speak the language, one of the things that I found out by listening to music from different origins is even when you don't know the lyrics, a lot of the emotion, just whether it's in the music itself or, the tone of the singer's voice and how they hit those notes and their inflection, a lot of emotion can be absorbed through that. And it just goes to show how music is very transformative, and it defies language barriers. And listening to that song, revisiting that song, I should say, because I've known about Dead End for a while. And when I heard that song again 2 years ago, I was inspired to draw this. I was inspired to create this kind of like something a visual that I feel like would be fitting towards the song. I don't know if the musicians would feel the same way about it, but it was for me. It's a idea that I had in my mind, a vision I had in my mind, and I chased it. So what you had seen this far is me refining the rough sketch. And again, apologies I like to start these videos off with a blank canvas and to show you how I got, from 0 to 100. But I I don't know. I mismanaged the files with this one. I'm not even gonna lie. I started this on my older iPad, and I don't know. I don't think I recorded the initial rough, but or I copied and pasted from another file over to the canvas I was gonna work on, because I wanted it to be a big size for future printing purposes. And if you're seeing this and you like the process and you like the finished work, and you're interested in buying a print, this year I really want to sell more of my originals, more less fan art, more original concepts, more original artwork like this. And if you're interested in buying one, I will be setting up another print shop soon. I had one through Etsy for a while, and I wasn't really loving working through Etsy, so I'm looking for other alternatives. If you have any suggestions, please let me know. I'd be willing to listen and hear what you got. And but yeah, I'd like to do like a drop ship kind of printing service or something like that, something along those lines. But just be assured, it's something I'm working on, and you'll hear more about it once I get everything figured out with that. But so far, I've really just been doing prints on my own printer and selling them at shows. And so if you're in my area, if you're local to the Nebraska area, come find me, or I'll find you. I'm doing more shows this year, so hopefully you'll bump into me, and I'll have one of these nifty prints on hand. But anyway, enough with the sellout season. Enough with the shilling. Back to the artwork. This part took the longest, just getting the grayscale down for this picture, for this celestial being, because I didn't have anything to go by. This is all 100% like just me, just trial and error. The only reference I really use, I did look at some volcanoes, just various pictures of volcanoes, because I've got volcanoes in the background and I wanted it to look kind of accurate. So I did reference some volcano photos. But yeah, like that was another thing. When I had this vision, I just saw this being soaring above this violent background of volcanoes exploding, and I wanted it to be as triumphant as possible. So I put a lot of work into it. It's one of those things. It's definitely a passion project. This image. And just trying my best to get my values right, trying to consider my light sources. And it was difficult because with this one, I knew I wanted the wings, her arms that are kind of transformed into wings. I wanted it to burn or to be as bright as possible, and trying to think how that was going to play off the darkness, the coldness I wanted in her skin, but then I wanted there to be a little bit of transparency, and I wasn't really sure how that was going to turn out once I got to the color part. As I said before, with these digital paintings, what I'll often do is I'll paint it all out with the flat brush, painting over my pencil sketch, over my type pencil sketch. I will paint it all out in grayscale, and then I take that layer and I'll multiply it, and then just do my colors underneath. And that doesn't always work, especially when it comes to more additive light. When you're doing that, sometimes you'll find that you've maybe gone a little too dark with your values, and you have to you'll have to make it a little lighter in the process, which that's the forgiving part of working in Procreate, or if you're working in Photoshop, even you can you can always go back and change things and go back into your initial painting and lighten things up or erase things or make more open spots for that light to shine through. And I believe that's what I ended up doing with the wings here. Sometimes when doing work like this and then kind of putting it out there in the internet, I get a little nervous because I spent a lot of time on this, and it's not even really necessarily about getting the praise that I think, or the attention or anything like that. It's more or less nowadays about, with all this AI generated stuff, and the way that it's sourced, the way that those programs just kind of, if you were to type in, I want a drawing of a panda in Vincent van Gogh style or something like that, the way it'll rip other people's work off. It just really, it goes and it crowdsources other artists' work to create your artwork that's based on your prompts. And I just feel like that's so unethical, especially when you're drawing from the heart, or you're painting from the heart, or you're painting something that you truly see in your mind's eye, and it takes, moments, it takes hours, it takes years to finish, like this did. It feels like a slap in the face. It really does. I wish that technology wasn't a thing at all. And I know that sounds kind of weird because I've used technology to create something like this, and I really look at things like Procreate and Adobe Illustrator and Photoshop and all of those things. I just look at them as tools in a toolbox of artists. But I do think technology can go too far. And when everyone can just hit a prompt and create something that by first glance it looks like it took a lot of time and effort and skill in doing, but it didn't. It's really just taking from this artist over here and this artist over there and putting it in a soup, and those people never get paid for it. Those people never see any kind of compensation, or it's just all done in a very, just like I said, very unethical way, I believe. And if you have some enjoyment doing that, I'm not trying to take that away from you, but I'm just saying it how it is. It's not. I don't believe it's good. I don't believe, as far as like for society as a whole, it's not good. Is it a cool little, gimmicky thing? Sure, but I don't appreciate it at all. And those are just my views on it. But as we get into these mountains here, this was tricky too. Like I said, I looked at some references, but at a certain point, I like to put my references away. And that's another argument to be made too. People will say, well, if you used a reference picture, that's kind of like, no, it's not. It's not the same as like doing an AI prompt or having, using a program and not doing the work at all. I don't prescribe to that. That is not the same, because you are still filtering it out through your mind's eye and your limitations as an artist, as a your technical skills. There's only so much that I can do, that I have limits that I could, based off of my limited view of things. And I think that that's what creates your quote unquote style. I think that's another thing too. Before AI and before all this stuff, I feel like there's a lot of artists out there that would get wrapped up in their style. And I mean, maybe I do. I don't know if I do or not. I really try not to. I just really try to create what I see in my mind's eye. I don't like to go into my artwork with a perceived, okay, this is the only way that I can draw. And that's why you'll see some of my artwork, it'll have that more Western comic book crosshatch look, and then I'll do things like this that are more have that more painterly effect to it. And yeah, like I guess in my mind's eye, I'm referencing other artists and things that I like too, but I just feel like it's way different when you are doing that manually and you're putting thought into it, and you're putting a lot of your revisions into it. When I got to the colors here, I was 2 years removed from when I did the line art. And so my vision changed, my inner thoughts, I've had time to think about it, how I wanted to approach it, and revise it in my mind. And that's a lot different than than just saying, typing into a program how I want it and having it do all the work. I don't know how I got caught in this loop of AI talk, but I think it's because it's been on my mind a lot. One of the projects I'm writing, I've been doing a lot more writing within the last year, and I've taken a break for about 6 months, and today, as I'm recording this, I'm trying to dive back into this story that I'm working on for a bigger project, and it really involves kind of my thoughts on the possible damages AI could have on greater society. And I think once a society loses its art, visual and audio and music, it loses its culture. And once things become automated, everything becomes expected, you lose your artists. And I see that happening. I feel like I see that happening in small ways everywhere around me. Just the general appreciation and critique of different art around me is questionable. But again, those are just my thoughts on it. For the wings, I used the add filter on the layer that I was coloring on to achieve that bright glow. One of the tricky parts of this, I wanted the blue flame to fade into that orange, bright orange color. And some areas it got a little more green than I wanted to. That's always a risk when you're mixing those two colors, but I don't know. I think it's excusable for what I did. I'm hoping it's not too noticeable, and I'm hoping I haven't printed this out yet, so that's where the real test is going to be to see how the colors come out on the print. So this may be something, even though it's finished now, I might kind of go back and have to make some adjustments with, but hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully that's not the case, because I do like how this ultimately ended up turning out. And it's close. I don't think it's 100% the image I had initially in my head. Like I said, it went through changes, but I'm happy with the results. And I'm really looking forward to doing more pieces like this, including in my portfolio. I had the little tassels are on the side of her hips are one of my favorite details on this. It's a very unusual costume design, and it's one that I really just made up on the spot. But I think it turned out decent. So if you like this drawing and you like my ramblings over this drawing, thank you so much for sticking with me. Thank you for viewing my content. If you've commented or followed me on any of my socials, thank you for that too. I really do appreciate it. Really, I do all this work just for you guys to see it. Like, yeah, you know, I want to make this my career, and I want to sell my work and be profitable from it, but it's not the only reason I do this stuff, guys. It's really, I want to share my visions with you. I really just want to share the images and the thoughts and the things that keep me awake at night to you. So hopefully they don't keep you awake at night and you're like, oh man, you know, I can't get that out of my head in a good way. That's what I want it to be. So if you enjoyed it, hopefully I've earned your subscription today. If not, keep checking back and hopefully you'll stumble upon something that I've created that you do like. Thank you guys. Love you. Peace.